Hello, my name is Benjamin Timothy Goby, and for my project, the BTG Interviews, today I'm interviewing Frank Jakeman.
Hi, Ben.
Question 1. At what age did you start acting, and what inspired you to become an actor?
I got the acting bug really when I was about 22. It was 1979, and I'd been going to the cinema through the mid-late 70s every year. And in every genre there was a groundbreaking movie. If it was crime, it would be The Godfather. If it was horror, it would be The Exorcist. You know, drama was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. You know, sci-fi style was fantastic. And so the cinema affected me differently than it did everybody else. I remember leaving the cinema, having seen the film like Jack Nicholson's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and just wanting it to be quiet, so I could think, so I could dissolve, I could sort of digest what I'd seen. And I began to wonder if I could do that, if I could ever go at that, because I was a zookeeper. I worked at London Zoo from 17 to 22, from 1974, from the age of 17 to my late 70s. I was living at London Zoo, I was a zookeeper. And that was great, but towards the end of that, I got that thing out of my system, and I just sort of, the acting thing for me started to take over. And so I decided I wanted to leave the zoo and get some training and become an actor. So I would say it was down to those great groundbreaking movies across every genre in the 70s that made me want to be an actor.
Question 2. What's been your best and most challenging roles in your career, and what was the experience like when you were playing them roles?
Yeah, there's two kinds of performance. There's the performance where you can just, you haven't got to prep that much, and then there's a performance where you're required to go very deep, and that requires emotional recall. You sort of, if you've got a crying scene, if you've got a really heavy scene. I play a lot of drums. What happens is, as you get older, you get cast as, you become a character actor. So you become the lead's father. And normally, I always play the lead's father in every film normally. And the directors they always think they're the first director to ask you this. They say, phone up and say, I want you to play the father. Oh, but Jake, he's a bastard. He's a drunk, he knocks his kids about, he's horrible. I've never once been asked to play a nice dad. So I kind of cornered the market in mean dads, nasty dads and drunks and things like that. Although I'm teetotal, I've never been over life. That for me is a challenge. The challenge is playing a drum. The challenge is going deep and getting a tear out. There's great challenges that make me want to be an actor, and we can't wait for the next script, because that's what we want to do. We want to push ourselves all the time. We want to see if we can do it. So that for me is a great thing. Get it, emotional recall is something that you use. Being a drunk. The interesting thing about playing a drunk is, if you play a slap or slur or to like caricature, over the top cartoon drunk, that's okay. If you want to do a comedy sketch. But what I just did for you just now was rubbish, obviously. But if you watch a drunk, what the drunk's trying to do is talk sober. What the drunk is trying to do is keep you, to fool you. I'm not drunk. But the drunks that are trying to talk to you are trying their hardest not to slur, not to watery eye, not to hiccup. They're trying to be as undrunk as possible while they talk. Now you try doing that and sound drunk at the same time, you can see the dichotomy. It is complete, that's the hardest thing to do, is play a drunk. And the people that play drunks really well, I take my hat off to them, because the other thing is I don't drink. So I've seen drunks, I know what a drunk does, and I know how they act, but I've never been drunk, so I can't even use that as an emotional recall, because I've never been drunk. So when I went to drama school, I said I'd never been drunk. I was told to get drunk. They said, go home to your flat, do a bottle of wine, get absolutely paralytic and remember it. And I didn't. I just said, yeah, okay, I'll do that, and I didn't. But I mean, they weren't impressed. None of the teachers at East 15, which is a great drama school, None of the teachers were impressed when I said, I've never been drunk in my life, thinking I was going to get a gold star. No, go home and get drunk. How can you play if you don't know what it feels like? Funny that.
Question 3. Which film and television people have you enjoyed working with, and are there any you would like to work with in the future?
Yeah, I've enjoyed working with many of my favourite actors, and there's a whole long list of people I haven't met yet that I'd love to work with, for sure. Yeah, definitely. I was lucky enough to do a Bond. I was in A View to a Kill. I met Roger Moore. He was an absolute gentleman, an absolutely beautiful person, just the nicest person in the industry. That was great. I've also did a film for Michael Winner, who I have to say was the complete opposite. Michael Winner. I did Death Wish 3, met Charles Bronson, a great hero of mine, and they filmed it. Michael Winner directed Death Wish 3. They filmed it in London, and I met Bronson, did my scenes with him, worked for Winner. Bronson was great, Winner wasn't so nice. And then in the same year, I worked for Terry Gilliam in a film called Brazil. And I did a month on that. And Terry Gilliam and Michael Winner, worlds apart. I worked in the same summer for the nicest director in the business to the most unpleasant director in the business, Winner, for many reasons. And I'm sure if you dig, you research, you'll find out. You'll read all the horror stories. I won't come out with them, but trust me, Winner wasn't a very easy person to work for. I would love to work with Ray Donovan, Liev Schreiber. My wife and I are huge Ray Donovan fans. Have you seen it?
No.
Catch it.
I've got lots of films to catch up on.
You've got to do the box, binge the box. Ray Donovan, fantastic. Yeah, there's some great actors out there that I'd like to work with. I've been very lucky, but then I'm old, so my IMDb goes back a long way. I've worked with some of the people that I wanted to work with. First film I worked with was the last film, James, the first film I did, and it was 1979. I just left the zoo, and 2 weeks later I'm on the set at Shepperton, and I'm in a film called Ragtime, and it was James Cagney's last movie. You know who James Cagney is?
No, I do apologise. I do try and keep up with it all and stuff.
All those old 40s gangsters movies with Humphrey Bogart, James Cagney. Cagney was 83, and it was the last film we did. It's James Cagney, Pat O'Brien, and Donald O'Connor. And 2 weeks ago, I was shoveling fish in a den at London Zoo. 2 weeks later, I'm on set at Shepperton, and James Cagney's as far away from me as you are. That was a thrill. That was a thrill. Because when this is over, go up and Google James Cagney, and you'll see his face. You'll know it. You'll know it. You've seen all his films. So yeah, that was a thrill. But yeah, there's a wish list. God, yeah. I'd love to have worked with Jack Nicholson in his prime. Obviously, De Niro, Pacino. You know, but I would like to have worked with some of the maybe not so great actors, but real film stars. Because you get two. They are different. Sometimes you get a movie star as an actor, but most times you get actors or movie stars. John Wayne was a movie star. It wasn't, an actor's actor. I think he got his Oscar out of being an actor for so long as a nod, for all the work he'd done. But film stars that I would like to have worked with would have been like Burt Reynolds, just the stars are going Clint Eastwood, obviously. They're the movie stars that you don't get now. You get more actors becoming movie stars now, which is great. De Niro and Pacino, or both, obviously they're combined. They're great actors and movie stars, so I'd love to work with them. But Connery in his day, he's retired now, but in his day, I would have loved to have worked with Connery. I never did. But I worked on a Michael Caine film, although I didn't meet him, and I worked on a Roger Moore, Richard Burton film, 1984, and I was there when he wasn't, so I missed him. But Richard Burton for me is a huge hero of mine.
Question 5. As an actor, how do you feel your career has progressed over the years, and are there any areas in acting you'd like to improve in?
Yeah, I've been very lucky because it's funny, there's a hole in most actors' careers. You're kind of busy at the beginning, you reach a certain age, it levels off, you think, do I quit, what do I do, and then you pick up again. And 2 years ago, I was shoveling fish in a den at London Zoo. 2 weeks later, I'm on a set at Shepperton, and In my 20s to say 40, I was okay, I was busy. Say 50 for 10 years, sort of like, I wonder what's happening. But as you get older, I find, it's just me, since the white hairs come, the white beard, all the rest, mind you, I didn't have a beard. For years and years and years, clean shaven, spotlight photo had to be clean shaven, had to be glamour, had to be kind of easy for a casting director to try to imagine, you playing any character, so you try to present a blank canvas. So you're clean shaven, short back size, and you live like that. You hit 50, nothing's happened. You've earned a living, but you're not a star, you're not famous, you're not successful. You're just a jobbing actor, still mowing lawns or doing whatever, a little bit of cash in hand. And then you get to a point where you think, you know what, I don't care anymore. And you let it go long, you grow a beard, oh, blimey, it's salt and pepper, I didn't know that. And all of a sudden, you think, whatever, new spotlight photos, Because you kind of think, okay, enough. I've been chasing this dream 30 years, and and the funny thing happens is all of a sudden the phone rings because you look a bit more interesting. Because now all of a sudden you're a character actor. For every good-looking lead, they need 3 or 4 character actors around them. Most movies have got Mr. Good-looking, a pretty guy, pretty girl in their 20s. They've got the drama, but around them, they've got all these character actors. And now, when I was in my 20s and 30s, I played sappers, I played soldiers, I played coppers, beat coppers, I played whatever. Now, my age, before the hair was too long, I was still playing soldiers, but they had the pips on the shoulder and they had a load more to do. If I was a copper, same thing. I was a commissioner. If I was a soldier, or I was a detective, plainclothes detective, because of my age. So the roles become more interesting and bigger and more important to the story because they're more because you fit that role more, not because you're a better actor or whatever. But it's all of a sudden you look more grizzled, more old, more like you've experienced more, and they're trying to get a face into this character they're trying to cast, and they see your spotlight photo with all the lines and the grey and all this, and they go, oh yeah, he looks like he could play that character. Phone rings, you go in, you audition, you get a recall, next thing you know you're on set. And actually I found as I've got older, I've got busier, and the roles have got more interesting and better, and that's because I look like I can tell a story now because I've got an old lived-in face. So yeah, it's been great, and I like the way it's going. So
Question 6. What advice would you have for myself or any young person who's looking to go into acting or any other job in the film and television industry?
It's difficult for me to answer because I can only answer it as far as acting is concerned. I don't know what it would be like to go into being Spark or a Chippy or a DP or I don't know cameras. I know there's a new one every year. Everyone gets a new red. All of a sudden, shit, now it's a Scarlet. Mine's out of date. The next year, oh God, now it's an Epic. Now my Scarlet's out of date. There's a new camera every year. They're getting so much light in the end now. You don't need a light set so much. You don't get people moving lights around. I don't know all that technical stuff, so I can't tell you what that would be like. All I can tell you is about acting, and I can tell you, if you're thinking about becoming an actor, then you've got to do it for the right reason. If you want to be rich and famous, look at me, I'm 63 and I'm broke, and that's how you will go. And we all go. There's a tiny minority that that become rich and famous and stars, and if that's what you want, don't do it. Just don't do it, because the chances are it'll never happen. And then after 3 or 4 years of chasing some stupid dream about being famous, instead of wanting to be an actor, get a training and deliver a proper, honest performance, you won't be any. You'll have got nowhere, and then you'll be bitter and twisted, your mind's all screwed up, and then you'll be doing something else. It's okay for us, because we don't want our industry clouded up with people like that anyway. But if you do it for the right reason, if you do what I did, if you see an actor giving an incredible performance, and all you think of is, I wonder if I could do that. How could I do that? I get some training. I'm gonna have a go, see if I can do that. And if that's the reason, then do it, because you'll find that you can do it, because most of us can. Most of us can. You started acting when you was a little boy. The first performance you ever gave was when you had a cake or a biscuit, and Mum said, "Who's had that?" And you went, and she said, "Did you eat that last cake?" And you went, "No." Your job as a boy, as a kid, is to convince your mother you didn't eat that sweet. And you're acting your guts off, because you know if you don't give the right performance, you'll get a slap. That's your first acting job.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Then you go on to the playground and you're playing cowboys. And eventually, you know, you football girls, you give it all up. A few of us, big kids, we stayed. And it's been a great thing to do, but only because my grounding is solid. I'm still doing it for the right reason. I don't care about being rich and famous. You know, I just care that I get the script. And every script's got the scene where you think this is the one. If I'm on my job, the day we shoot this scene, this is the scene. Every script has got a scene where you think, if I'm in the moment on that day, and I am my game, and I nail this, a year later when we go to Castle Crew screening and it's up there, the whole cinema is going to be sniffing, it's going to end, that scene will end and no one will talk. And I'll look around and I'll think, yeah, I nailed that. That's what you live for. There's no money involved in that. I do a lot of low-budget straight DVD films. You know, I could name you the next 3 films right in the book. They'll go to Netflix, they'll go to Amazon Prime. You'll pay £3 to see them on the telly, and they'll never go to cinema. But then, having said that, the biggest movie stars in the world are going straight to the telly now. The biggest movie stars in the world aren't getting a theatrical release. They go straight on the telly. So maybe swings around that. Scorsese's next film, $150 million budget, The Irishman, straight to Netflix.
Yeah, I want to see.
It's not getting a theatrical release. That's Scorsese bringing De Niro, Pacino, Pesce, all of them back together for the last time, because he ain't gonna live forever, is he? The last great gangster film or whatever. It's going on the telly. It's where the good writing's going now. So it's gone full circle, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks very much, Frank.
Been a pleasure.